3, 2, 1. All right, guys, on today's episode, we go really in depth about how our lives have been impacted, about the movements we're taking, and what direction it really means to go a little bit further and self actualize and really be truthful living your own life.
We hope everyone's having an amazing day. We hope that you're becoming a developer of your own opportunities. And today, Nicholas and I really recapped on about finding a mentor, being able to step out and take that first step. There's lots of good and useful information, and we hope you guys can find some value in it.
A huge shout out to everyone at the Road to Redemption Studios as well. Thank you so much, Cam Williams with Road to Redemption Podcast. My boy Rico got the sauce, Darian. He's fucking awesome. Thank you so much. As well as Javon. Dude, you're doing great things with Jay the Great Customs and Ashley Marie Photography. You guys are so great. Thank you so much for our first event a couple weeks ago. And thank you so much for you guys.
Hey guys, Nick here.
What's going on, y'all? Zach here.
We're just two guys trying to make the world a better place.
And welcome to the Doors.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of The Doors. We're the developers of our own opportunities, reinforcing success. I'm Nicholas Sternloff.
Hey, I'm Zachary Yachts.
And guys, it is time to open some doors today. So, an interesting thing going on about this week compared to most of our other weeks on the podcast. Me and Zach continually, usually, are in constant communication about things that we're planning, ideas we have, the movements we're making, and it allows for like a lot of like really great conversations, but also allows us to build upon our ideas really well. And what's crazy this week is I just started a new job, and it's completely conflicting schedules of Zach's. Like we don't have any chance time to talk, so we might be able to. We get time to text maybe once or twice. Zach's got to get up at 5 a.m. and I'm off at work at 4 p.m. So it's just completely conflicting schedules. So this is the first time we're catching up this week.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm so excited about. I'm excited to jump in some conversations with you, man.
Yeah, it's been a while, Nick. How have you been, bud?
Dude, started this new job. I'm really excited. I'm a server right now at a local fancy restaurant called Home up in Jasper, Georgia, and I'll ride off a big canoe. And what's good is I'm already serving tables because I've learned the menu. I'm doing what I need to do, and finally making some tips. After it was my third day, I started my own tables, which is good, and just getting into that, enjoying that. It's been nice, and I'm excited to at least start saving up some money. So, yeah, how are you doing, man? What you been up to?
Dude, busy. You know how it is, Nicholas. We constantly stay moving on our opportunities. We're in the process of developing them. So, dude, I've been still doing a lot of carpentry work. I get up every morning, like you said, around 5 a.m., head out, get to the job. I actually just enrolled in a martial arts school. So I start Taekwondo on Monday and Wednesdays. I'm doing Taekwondo and Hapkido. So it's kind of interesting. Between that and the gym, bro, I stay pretty busy.
So so I know you've been looking for a sensei because I've been looking for a mentor, y'all. I've been looking for someone that can teach me what I want to know. But Zach's been looking for a sensei. Did you find a sensei? Are you a young Padawan yet?
Yeah, I think so. So I got my carpentry sensei, who he's a martial artist as well. So he kind of makes it fun. Like any of the carpentry stuff we do, he always tries to make it like a workout for me. So that's one of the aspects I really love of it, because anything I do throughout the day, I can be like, okay, this is a good workout. But I just went out to there's a Taekwondo place in town.
Fucking wax on, wax off.
Yep, Mr. Miyagi. But no, there's a Taekwondo place in town, and I went. And this is the second class I went to because they called me back and they were like, "Hey, are you still interested in martial arts? We would really like you to join up with us." So I went in, and the sensei had literally scheduled just a 30-minute session for just me and him. So it was just me and him. And he showed me a lot of grappling moves, a lot of takedowns. We worked on my kicks. And dude, it was funny because when I first walked in, I did this just like roundhouse. Really, really put my weight behind it, kicked the bag. And the bag kind of, it's one of the ones that are stationary. So it kicked all the way up on its side, like almost to it tipped over and then snapped back. And all the kids were like, ooh. So it just, the environment of it, man, that's really what I judge those things off of, is like the environment. Like, are people learning?
Hey,
Are they growing? And this guy
yeah.
really think he's going to help me grow.
Well, dude, that sounds great. I mean, I think that like again, I was talking to one of my coworkers last night, and he was like going on about different things about how he feels like he's at a point in his life where he knows everything's gonna happen. I was like, well, fuck, man, you gotta learn. You gotta keep continue to learn. Like there's another facet of what you're going to continue to do. I know you found your sensei, you found your place, and that's just an exciting thing. I think that's another complete journey that you're about to take on, and you have a whole bunch of different things that you're working on with that. And that's great. That's really exciting.
Yeah.
I actually have one of my buddies that's at my that I work with that needs he's looking for some physical training outlets. So I'm gonna definitely hook y'all up, and he just needs workouts.
Yeah, man.
So
Let him know.
that's exciting. But
I can do just programming as well, man. That's something that a lot of people have troubles with. Um,
so
Go ahead.
yeah, Zach, I got a question for you. What is the thing that you've been thinking about the most this week? What's been on your mind, man? What has been driving you this week?
Man, I think it's always just the love of the journey. You know what I mean? Um, a lot of people just they think about end goal, Nicholas, and you know this. Like there is no finish line. So if we constantly improve, I think that's one of the things that you got to go back to being a beginner, being a basics, being on those basics with everything that you do. And that was something I was thinking about this week, especially because I'm learning new things. I'm learning how to do different stuff in the carpentry world, in the martial arts world. And it was one of those things where I was like, I have to look for a lesson in each of these little actions, because if I am constantly looking for the lessons in life, then I'll be able to move forward. And then eventually, when we're older, like we talk about, Nick, we'll be successful. We'll have developed those own opportunities. But I think, honestly, going back to answering your question, it's just finding the little blissful things in life. The little
Nice.
strings that attach us all.
Yeah, I completely understand that, man. I think that's a very, very keen, insightful thing to do. At the end of the day, you talked about having these immortal finish lines, and that little phrase right there comes from a commencement speech that Matthew McConaughey did at the University of Texas, the university that he is a professor at, and he is I believe he's the head of the um, theater department there.
Yeah.
But he talked about having immortal finish lines. At the end of the day, you can never be satisfied. You can be gratified, but you can never be satisfied.
Damn
So
right.
and
Say that again.
that's
Say that
important.
again, bro.
Listen, I heard this off of a spoken word contestant off of AGT, America's Got Talent, and he said, "I can be gratified, but I can never be satisfied." And that's so important because if you're trying to fall in love with a journey, if you're trying to become someone, if you're trying to do something in this world, you cannot be. You have to make sure you're critical of all your decisions. You're taking a step back out of your own life, your own personal decisions, and being like, "Is this the right thing to do? What's going to help me get to the section, the place that I want to be?" And again, you can't be satisfied.
No. And Nick, we talk all the time about the hard questions of life and having answers for these questions. So like, when you're having a difficult
Yeah,
situation, because a lot of people have like conflicting natures like within themselves, and sometimes it's, is this a good decision? Oh, maybe it's a good decision, maybe it's not. And I try to contemplate myself all the time, especially if it's an action that I'm about to take or a decision I'm about to make or some, you know, financial blunder, something like that. You always have to ask yourself, is this going to bring me closer to my goal or is this going to set me farther away? And based upon those answers, that should give you some pretty insightful information on what action you should take. But it's just little tricks like that make life so beautiful, man, and make it a strategy almost.
Well, it is. It's like it's a game. It's a game in the sense of that uh, you almost forget about a lot of things that are going on. I think being self-aware in the moment of what you're doing and trying to be omnipresent as well as staying true to your goals is hard to do. You have to set up a real schedule. You have to set up a real plan. And at least Earl Nightingale basically preaches this about making sure it's not you don't have to be smarter than anyone else. You don't have to work harder than anyone else. You just got to put your time and attention to it.
Hmm.
And it's like we continue. I know. I get up, and I know me and Zach have talked about this. I get up every morning and I try to write 5 ideas down, how much I want to make, and what's going to get me there. And what's like this week has really challenged me in that. I just started a new job, and like, though I bet before I went on vacation about 2 months ago, and I ended up traveling for a month. But before I went on vacation 2 months ago, I was doing really good. I was going to bed before 1. I was getting up around 6 a.m. I'd get up, I'd do my thing, I'd have my time to read and just chill out. And I'm finding that when I came back from this whole move, this whole journey that I took, that it was very hard to get back on track. And now mix that with starting a new job.
It's
And
a
that's
lot.
been a real struggle. It's been a real struggle. But what I'm doing is I'm forcing myself to do it. I'm forcing myself to be in this in the moment to make sure that I can accomplish my things. Because I remember the first day of my job after I got done, I was like, good. I woke up around 11. I had to go to work at 3:30. I just sat around and I was like, I can't do this. I was like, I got plans. I got things that I want to accomplish. I was like, how do I do that? How am I going to do that? And I was like, number one, I got to wake up earlier. All right. Number two, I got to start planning my day out. I'm utilize my time to the best of my ability. I started listening to podcasts while I work out because I like listening to podcasts. I have two of my favorite right now. Number one is My First Million. It's Sean Parr and um, I don't want to get the other one wrong. Sean Parr and Ishan Puri, I believe. And then the next one is the brutal truth about sales, and that's Brian. And I forget his last name. I'll look it up in a second. But those two are fantastic podcasts to continue building upon the things that I'm doing and trying to put my attention towards. And just utilization of my time has been what's been really, really great right now. And I found that basically from doing that, it's Brian Burns. From
Right.
doing that utilization of my time, the past 3 days have been great. I've accomplished things. I've worked out. I've been eating. I've been doing what I need to do. Been making money. I'm staying on track. And it's such a good feeling because I know I'm pushing myself to a good schedule, to a good mindset, so I can continue to move forward. Because I'm trying to make these money moves. I'm trying to make these success moves. I'm trying to be a happy person.
Well, you're on your way, bud. And I think happiness is in the eye of the beholder, It's one of those
Damn
things
right.
we always say is, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. It's it's powerful stuff, man. But Nick, I know you've been you could say that you're kind of in an uncomfortable situation right now, wouldn't you? You're trying to adapt, trying to get into a normal routine again.
Well, hands down, I think that again, it's a self-actualization thing. I think if you look back at I'm a person that was never really good with holding true to my word. I was never really a person. I was a procrastinator. I still am sometimes. And the problem is that when you start getting older, when you start becoming more self, like that doesn't even come with age. That just comes with inflection.
Yeah.
And this past year was great to inflect on the things that I do and honestly continue to think about and self actualize the things that are going on in my life, so I can deal with them instead of just letting them fester.
Mm-hmm.
And what this has done is put me in a place where, of course, I'm in an uncomfortable position. I'm trying to set up a schedule, a mindset, a movement to continue to build upon the successes that I've had. And almost catapulted in even further. But I'm starting a new job. I'm doing 20 things at once in my head. It's like I have 10 tabs open on a Safari thing up on my computer, and it's running pretty slow. But guess what? What I'm doing is now putting those into folders. I'm getting away rid of the things that I don't need. I'm trying to put my time and attention towards the things that are going to continue to build upon my success. And that's allowed me to take a little bit of stress off my shoulders as well as feel like I'm doing some good things, which is good,
Yeah.
which is really good.
And the more we give, the more we receive, man. And the
I
thing
agree with that.
is, it gets to a point where you have to decide what kind of life do you want to live. Do you want to be one of those people who are, highly successful, or just, doing all right and have a nice family? Do you want to be a loner and not really have much, or what is that type of person you want to be, and visualize it. And I think what you were talking about earlier, man, when you were saying, I have all these tabs open on this Safari screen. Go and delete some of those tabs. Go and get rid of the things that you're no longer serving you. Whether it's the shopping or the stuff you want to get from Amazon. But I think that's really powerful, man. What you just said, because
Well,
it's allowing you to deal with your emotions up front instead of bottling them in. Because we're taught as guys, you're supposed to be the emotional tough guy. You're supposed to be the person that bottles it up, and then no, that's why you eventually explode. What is your take on that, Nick?
yeah. Well, I was going to jump in a little bit earlier too about what you're saying about you want to be the loner, you want to be the successful, you want to be the family guy. At the end of the day, what's great about this life is you have the complete and utter free will to do whatever the fuck you want.
Whatever the
And
fuck you want.
that is what society doesn't really push on people. Doesn't it's not the narrative that's represented in the narrative of the moment. And what's you're the narrator of your narrative, and I think that's what's so important to realize growing up, and a lot of people don't realize it until some certain age, some certain point, something clicks on in their head. And at the end of the day, I think that people rely too much on other people's opinions. People rely too much on. I mean, I've been there. I like because I want to make the right decision. I want to make the right move. I want to understand exactly what's going on, and I don't want to be that person that messes up. But at the end of the day, um, it's not about just failing. It's about how many times you fail and get back up. It's how many times you continue to push after those failures. Failure is just the next step in the step of becoming great
Yeah.
in this
Well,
journey upon life. And what's go ahead.
no, I was just gonna add in exactly, what you were saying. People go their whole lives, man, searching for answers, looking for clues, thinking that they're bigger, but really, you just have to be in alignment. It's like we were talking about earlier. You can almost feel when you're in one of these flow states. And I heard, I forgot who I was listening to. I need to go back and find it, but it was on a podcast, and they said you can either. It was Joe Dispenza. It was Joe Dispenza. He said you can either change in the here and now when it's pleasant and comfortable, or you change in the suffering and pain. But you don't have to pick
Yeah.
pain and suffering in order to change. You can make the conscious decision right now to do whatever. But it all starts with that first step, like we talk about.
Yeah, the journey of 1,000 miles. But what's so interesting right there is the key to that. What we're both saying in the past 2 minutes we've probably talked about is being self-actualized in the moment. The problem is you have to have a, that self-actualization comes from a almost myriad, a symbiosis between the mind and the body and what's going on. And what I mean by that is that you can't be sitting there saying something in your head and then doing something else. It's a
Now,
symbiosis of the two. You have to be living
hmm
who you are on the outside and the inside. And that can be difficult sometimes. That can be real difficult.
yeah. And what people don't understand too is that when you make promises to yourself, like you tell yourself, I'm just gonna go out and I'm gonna run, I'm gonna run just a mile or so. But you give up halfway through it. really you're giving up on yourself. And people can sit here and say what they want, but it goes so much deeper than just that one action. Because if you give up there,
Yeah,
then you're going to
I
give up
agree.
on something else. Tom Platt's one of the great bodybuilders of his era, man. Like, he was probably one of my favorites, hands down. He always had this squat rack mentality where he believed you could learn anything about life from the squat rack. Because if you gave up, then he knew that you were going to give up at another period in your life. So he teaches people that even when you're at your limit, you have at least 5 more reps. And I think that's crazy because a lot of people that we talk about, David Goggins, Andy Frisella, Ed Milet, all these people who have done these great things. There's many, many more out there.
Yeah.
Um, but they have done it pushing their limitations, pushing this mind to body symbiosis like you're talking about. And it's you have to have a positive relationship with yourself in order to do something like that. You know, it doesn't have to be like all, oh, you're the greatest and all this stuff. Like, a lot of people are really tough on themselves, but it's because they love themselves enough to do that, because they know that they don't want to fail. And if they do fail, you best believe they learn from it.
Yeah. I think there's an interesting key point to two of those things. Is number one, the last thing you said right there is people are really hard on themselves. I think that at the end of the day, of course, we don't want to fail, but if you change that mindset that failure is an option and that you can continue to learn and grow from it, it's going to put you in a place better than you were previously because you understand what not to do next time. I think that changes the narrative a little bit.
Hmm.
But going more into what you were saying earlier, what's interesting about, again, Zach just went into is a little more into the bodybuilding side and the mentality behind almost the physical means, the physical movement behind almost that symbiosis we're talking about, not giving up, not doing things. I think that for the person that's not so into fitness is a little different, but it a key point to take away from that is that it's just not giving up. It doesn't matter. Like, imagine the journey. Remember, this journey is 1,000 miles long, and of course, you might give up that day. You might struggle that day. You might not have been where you wanted that day. The journey is so much longer than that. The journey is a lot longer than that. So, if you're sitting there and you're feeling like you're struggling, you're not doing too good that day, whatever, and you have to cut it short, it's okay. It's okay to take that step back. It's okay to not accomplish your goal that day. You just got to remember the bigger picture.
Yeah. And there's always a bigger
Boom.
picture at work, man. Always a bigger picture, man. So, Nick, going back on this bigger picture, do you think it's important for people to like express their goals to other people, or do you think it's better to just grind in the dark?
I think there's two sides to this story. If you look at a person like me in the past and even still struggling and working on it today, of course, I was a person of more words than actions. And I think it takes I think you have to take a step back and see what scenario you're truly in. And is it going to matter that do you have intrinsic motivation, or you need other people to motivate you? So do you need to tell people about your goals so you can accomplish them, or do you have intrinsic motivation and you're someone that people know you bullshit and you don't follow through with your word? And I think that's really sitting down and understanding where you are in the whole scenario and then going based off of that, because at the end of the day, everyone's situation is going to be different, and you're gonna have to react based upon your own thoughts and your own things that you believe in. And that's gonna be the interesting part of what the other people's situations is.
Yeah. Well, and that's really interesting that you say that, man. I mean, because you're literally, as you stand now, Nicholas, and this us as well. You're one decision from changing your life, good or bad. You know, you can take the bad route. You could do drugs. You could be broke. You could have all these things going on and use it as an excuse and not move forward. Or you could see it on the other side of things, where as you could grow, you could make the decision to quit whatever you're doing. You could make the decision to go to school or start that business or whatever it
Yeah.
is. But it's all based upon the decisions that we make. Wow.
Yeah. I agree, man. And I think that's what's so interesting about life is that if you're passionate about something or you're making moves upon something and you're thinking about doing this, blah blah, blah whatever you're doing, is at some point you could not be passionate about that anymore. You could not like it. You could stop loving that. And that is completely fine because, again, we have free and utter complete control of our free will. We can do whatever the fuck we want. And I think people and society tell us too much that we have to be one thing for the rest of our lives. And what I'm so interested in is I want to see Nick myself. I want to see myself 50 years from now. I want to know the things he's interested in. I want to know the things he's reading. I want to know the people he's talking to. And I think that's going to be a very different Nick than I am today. But I'm going to hold a lot of my attributes to the things that I'm doing and the experiences I'm having at the moment. Again, we're an accumulation of all the experiences and things we've done in our lives and how we've understood and dealt with those circumstances.
But think about what you just said, man. And not many people do this. And if you're listening today, think about this as well. If you're already trying to display the attributes and the traits of the person that you want to be in the future, ultimately you have to gravitate towards that reality. So Nick, what you're doing right now, bro, is perfect. You're writing down your goals every morning. You're taking in, you're working towards your goals and aspirations. And I know right now, like, maybe it's not the job you want, or maybe it's something different. Maybe there's something going on, but it's one of those things, even for you guys listening, that even these things will pass, and you'll see that eventually when you get on this other side of things, where you're just in it for the gratefulness of the day. You're in it because you woke up, and you see these little strings that attach us all, and they're everywhere, and it's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But guys,
Preach, man.
yeah,
Preach.
man,
Listen,
it's
so
it's a nice day, man. It's a nice day. Like, if
Zach,
you got
I
to
have
wake
a
up today, bro, then you're blessed. You're
huh,
blessed.
yeah. Zach, I have a question for you.
I got an answer.
There you go. All right. If you had to build upon one idea from this week, I want to answer this question too. I want you to ask me this question afterwards. But if you had to build upon one of the questions, one thing that you've been thinking about this week from now on, what would it be?
Um, so it kind of coincides with the doors, to be honest. But I really want to branch out and maybe even offer my own training, my own martial arts. Coincided with the doors for like children, man, for youth, for
Yeah.
people who don't have like a really good role model. Like you and I, we were just talking about looking for a mentor, looking for someone that can help us, branch out, that's went through similar situations, and that can give you wisdom. And I think I really want to be a good role model for them, be able to help. That's kind of my idea. I would kind of go down and continue.
Okay.
What about you, bro?
So, all right. So I'm going to talk about this in the ladder of success, which is either going to come out Monday or Wednesday, but which is our next podcast. But one thing that I've been doing lately is I've been reallocating my time because, and I'm gonna explain it like this: how much time do you spend on social media? How much time do you spend looking at other people's thoughts and what they're trying to do just to keep up with what they're doing in life?
Mhm. Lots,
I
man.
sat down. I sat down the other day and I had 7 hours of screen time on average a day. And I was like, what am I doing during those 7 hours? I was like, okay, some of it might be playing a little bit of game. Some of it might be spent on Facebook. Some of it might be spent on Instagram or Snapchat. But I was like, are any of those going to really build upon the things that I'm trying to do? Because that's 7 hours of my time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to my dad about this, and he was just like, yo, you should be on LinkedIn more often. I'm like, damn right I should be. Fuck yeah, I should be. So I'm trying to be more on LinkedIn because I feel like there's a place where you can continue to build up. But I'm reallocating my time to doing this. I talked about earlier how I'm listening to podcasts while I work out. I'm spending more time on LinkedIn, which is a business and social site for building connections through business. And what I'm doing is as I'm listening to people's podcasts, as I'm listening to these guests come on that are CEOs of industries, fantastic salespeople in the business, go to trade shows and do these different things, crazy people in venture capital funds, whatever it may be, I'm going through and basically I'm adding them on LinkedIn. I'm making these connections. I end up sending them a message and be like, listen, I just listened to your podcast on My First Million, just an example. I loved the way that you came at it with this point of view. I loved what you're doing and how you're explaining it. I really appreciate all the knowledge you just gave me. Let's connect, and I can't wait to learn more from you.
Dude,
And bro, I've made I've only been doing this for about a week and a half. I made 5 or 6 connections of heads of industries. I'm building a network of really, really powerful people. And that's what's crazy. That's my thing that I'm going to be looking into in the future and continue putting my time towards.
I love it, man. I love it. And
Now,
I just got to give a big shout out as well to our Grindstone members. For you guys that don't know, Nicholas and I created a community of individuals that we believe is going to be highly successful in the future. They're already working on many, many things. They've already done great things. So I just want to give everyone in the Grindstone a shout out and just say thank you guys so much for love and support. Um, and everyone else that's been there for the doors as well. It's really something that we're passionate about, and it's like Nick just said, you never know who that you're reaching out to or who you're talking to that will have that ability to help you change or help you grow or that you can help grow. So guys, we're going to wrap up today's segment, but I just want to remind you to be grateful, be humble, love, be joy, be happy, be fulfilled, be proud, be pure spirit, and always be free. And as always, guys, we are the developers of our own opportunities reinforcing success. I'm Zachary Otts.
I'm Nicholas Sternloff.
We love you guys and have a blessed day.
Damn right.
Peace. 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 Peace.